Hi, this is Chelsea Campbell, and this is my case study for EDL 850 School Law. All right, so the situation we were presented with. So St. Regis is a rural school, K through 8, and they have a small budget. In order to raise funds, the PTA puts on fundraisers, and with these funds, the school was able to purchase 20 computers that are shared by everyone. Miss Lynn is the librarian, the media specialist. She gathered up teacher input and put software onto these computers. And after these computers gained a lot of popularity, the teachers wanted the programs actually downloaded onto their own computers that are in the classroom so that students could use them in the classroom. Well, instead of purchasing more licenses to redistribute this program, Miss Lynn decided to copy the program onto a blank disk and then share them. So this violates the copyright laws because you don't have more licenses. Another teacher reported this to the principal, and then the principal had to take action. Okay, so in order to fix this copyright issue, first of all copies that were being made needed to be stopped and completely destroyed. So all of the blank disks that had not had software on it were good, but if it had a software on it, it needed to be destroyed. And then no more copies were to be made. And then computers that had already downloaded the copies needed to uninstall the software. They did not have the rights to have the software on there. So that's the first step to make sure that the copyright law is. And then once more funds were available, then we need to purchase the licenses so that the software can be downloaded legally onto the teachers' computers. The PTA was also involved in this, so they know about the blank disk. They didn't know that that was an issue, but they do need to be informed as to why we couldn't use the copied programs and know that we do need more funds. We're looking for more funds in order to buy more programs. And then as a coverall, you should always document any kind of incidents like this. That way that just in case the company got wind of what happened, they know that it was handled and you have a written documentation. Okay, so how can principals balance support from parents with interference with the school operations? So principals should always make parental support feel welcome and like they're a part of the school process. To do this, meetings and surveys should be conducted. So I'm really big on making sure that you're getting input from the parents. Surveys are a really good, quick way to get input, and then you can always host meetings. And then based off of what the majority of people have said, you should take action so that they feel like they were actually heard. And try and make a change or something that way that they know. And then you should always make sure that they're informed. A great way to do this is monthly newsletters and social media. So what school policies need to be developed to prevent this situation in the future? So first we need to make sure that there's an internet use policy and that students are fully aware of what is allowed and not allowed. That needs to be a written policy that everyone is aware of. And then with technology use being new to the district, they need to update everyone on the copyright laws. So education of copyright, super big, especially when you're diving into something new. So a professional development session at the beginning of the year should happen, and then you should have like a flyer, a handout or something that staff can reference very easily throughout the year. If they want to use some kind of new technology in their classroom, they know what is allowed and what is not allowed. They should also be able to come to you if they have a question. Did you reflectively evaluate the situation and policies with regard to legal, ethical, and equity issues? So yes, the copyright infringement issue was stopped, no more copies were made, and the software was removed. Did you analyze law and policy consistently, fairly, equity, and ethically within the school. Yes, there were pretty much 2 teachers involved. One was a new teacher, one was a veteran teacher. Listened to both, and then obviously followed the law that was on the side of one teacher. But both teachers felt like their opinion was valued. We were appreciative of the teacher trying to save the school money, and we were also appreciative of the teacher bringing the potential law issue into our brains. How would you communicate policies, laws, regulations, and procedures to appropriate school stakeholders that are related to this case study? So the best way to communicate with stakeholders is always do multiple ways. So you can create a video that is explaining your policy. You can also hold a meeting. Infographics are a really great way to get out the copyright laws. That way people have a quick reference. I would definitely hold a meeting. I would make a video explaining about copyright laws and an infographic. So hold a meeting to discuss what happened, and then create a video over your policy and the copyright laws and an infographic over both. How would you monitor and ensure adherence to laws, rights, policies, and regulation to make sure the situation does not happen again? So you need to monitor by checking in with staff members about their understanding. Also, in your policy, you should write somewhere that any software that is to be downloaded onto school computers needs to be approved. That way, you can make sure all copyright laws are followed and that you are aware of basically anything that goes on those school computers, since they are shared. Everyone will be able to see it. And then make sure that your staff stays up to date with copyright laws. The better they're educated about it, the less they are likely to violate it. What are some of the key strategies for involving community members in school planning? So it's really important to have your community involved. You need to listen to them and actually make changes in your school based off of their feedback. I know sometimes their feedback is crazy and there's not a way to change it because they don't understand the school system. But you got to do the best that they can to actually let them know that they are heard and they matter in the school system. You also need to make sure that they are informed. I really am a big component of social media on this because it seems like everyone has some form of social media. So you want to make sure that you're posting a lot on social media and letting everyone know what's going on in your school. And then you can always do the old school method for people who don't have social media. You can host meetings, invite people to the school to see what your students are doing, send out monthly newsletters. In what ways do current laws, regulations, policies, and procedures impact meeting various needs? So you want to stay current on laws and policies. That allows for the school systems to make sure they are maintaining good status with the Department of Education. Simply ignorance is not a good defense if you're being sued. So you need to make sure that you are aware of exactly what is mandated. Okay. How would you use technology to improve the quality and efficiency of operations and management? So you first acquiring equipment. A really great way to do this is apply for grants. There's a lot out there. So maybe you don't need to be fundraising as hard as you are. Why don't you just apply for grants that are already out there? And then make sure you purchase the proper amount of licenses you need and a monitoring system so that you can see what is going on and you can block inappropriate usage. Develop a plan for acquisition and maintenance of the equipment. So I believe that any kind of equipment that is checked out to students should also be checked in. It shouldn't go home with students over the summer. And then every year, any kind of technology that is used by students, it should be reset to factory settings. It should be updated. It should have the latest version of everything on there. And then if there are any repairs that need to be happen, it should happen annually. And then implement an appropriate internet use policy. So you need to create one, step one. And then really you need to purchase a good software program that can actually monitor the computer use. There's some free ones, but they're not as good as the ones that you can pay for. So I think if you're going to use internet, you definitely need to make sure that you have one of the really good ones that can actually utilize that. Okay. And standards. So Standard 6, promote the current and future success and well-being of each student and adult by applying knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to improve management, communication technology, school-level governance, and operation systems to develop, improve data-informed and equitable school resource plans to apply laws, policies, and regulations. So technology is a huge component of the real world. So getting that into schools and classrooms is a huge deal. You should do that as soon as possible. You're kind of behind if you don't have technology in your classrooms in somehow, some way. So getting students access to that is a huge step. And then finding ways to get them engaged with that technology. Not just their phones, but actually engaging with it and learning from it is a great way to support their future success. And then effectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, policies, and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. So the big issue in this case study was copyright laws. They must always be followed. So we had to evaluate that the copyright laws were infringed upon, and then had to communicate about what we were going to do to fix this, and then create a new policy and inform about what the copyright laws are. So copyright laws must always be followed. It is important for us to have to be aware of the copyright laws. So we need to create a policy and educate about it. And that is how, using this case study, we followed the standard 6 and 6.3. Thank you for watching.